Welcome to the art project. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. We're going to continue with negative space, and I'm going to use the picture on the left as a reference photo. This is the end product. I'm going to let the video go at normal speed so you can hear my thoughts. Good morning. We are going to draw this chair using only the negative space. In fact, I'm not really going to draw the chair, I'm just going to draw the negative space. The chair itself is positive. You could touch it if it were real, But this is negative space. If I were to try and touch it, my hand would just go right through it. Negative space, positive space. So in this example, all of the negative space is kind of white, light gray. Okay? That's what I'm going to draw. Not the wood. Not the positive space. Now, all of this negative space kind of fits together like a puzzle. This negative space fits into this negative space along that curve, but without actually touching. It's like having a bunch of puzzle pieces that fit together, but without actually touching one another. So for this one, I'm going to start right here with this little triangle. To me, that seems to be the easiest. Excuse me. Seems to be the easiest place to start. It's up here at the top. It's kind of in the middle. And I'm not using the shape building method that I've used before to do this, because right now I just want to focus on my ability to see and develop negative space. And once I do that, later on, I'll be able to combine the idea of doing negative space with doing positive space and doing the shape building method at the same time. It's just going to help me build a stronger eye. It's going to help me grow as an artist. It's challenging. It can be frustrating, but it will help me to grow. The next thing I'm going to do is this one. So I just did this negative space. Now I'm going to do this negative space, and it's a continuation of this line right here. I just drew that line right there. And now I'm going to draw this line, which is a continuation of that line, but with some space. So, and it goes around and down like that. And then this part right here, around and then down. And I want to make this and this look as much alike as I possibly can. And I just kind of have to rely on my ability to do that. And I may be wrong, and if I am, I'll come back and fix it later. So the next thing I'm going to draw is this negative space. And it's got some space in between it. It's got positive space between the two negative spaces. So I'm going to leave some space right here. And it's also a curlicue that fits right in here. So already I'm thinking that I might have done this wrong. I'm going to make this go a little bit more this direction. And erase. We've got this little piece of an eraser right here. Make this go this way a little bit more, and that right there. All right, so then this comes around like that, and you'll notice that right here is a continuation of right here. This line continues on this side of that positive space. So right here is that line, and it's going to continue right here. It's going to go just a short distance before it curls up and then curls down and back around. Notice over here that this line right here, which is a continuation of that line, dips down real good. So it should kind of dip down right there. All right, then I'm going to do this shape. This one seems to be a little bit more difficult, but I just want to notice things like it being a continuation of that line right there, it being parallel with this line right here, and it being a continuation almost of that line right there. So first of all, it's a continuation of that line. It's parallel with that line. And then I want to make note of like its whole shape. It's almost like a scoop right here, like a spoon. I also want to notice where this line lines up. If I drop a plumb line right here, it lines up with that part of this circle. So like right here, lines up with that part. Maybe not quite that deep, like that. This curves around. Creating the back of that spoon. Then there is, so I've drawn this shape, this shape, this shape, and this shape. Now I'm going to draw this shape. It is like a puzzle piece that fits into the back of that spoon. Is a continuation or almost a continuation of that line right there, but beside it, because there's this and then that's beside it. There's all of these pieces right here that come together. All of these are like separate sticks, but there's no negative space in there. There's no negative space between them until you get up here. This slightly curves around the chair. And then it curves back up. Notice how far in this is. If I were to do a plumb line right there, and then where it goes. Now I'm going to draw, I did that one just now. Now I'm going to do this one, which nice and conveniently fits right in here. Seems to come down just a little bit further than this point does, and then comes almost straight back up. Notice how where it comes straight back up, it's trying to be even with the middle right here. Getting shapes like this are really hard to do, so you want to line them up, compare them with other shapes, and just really examine them overall. Let me zoom in a little bit closer so you can see. Now I'm going to come over here and do this one, which fits nice and conveniently around this part, and that point wants to meet up with that point. So I'm going to go around that. This is a continuation of that. It goes down in the middle. Notice where this point is compared to this point. They don't get anywhere near each other really. And then this goes around what's going to be the mirror image of this one. And then comes down this way. Now let's go over here. I just drew that one. For right or wrong, better or worse, I drew that one. Now we're going to do this one. Again, it is this one in the middle. I don't want to take for granted though and just draw this one backwards. I want to look at what I'm doing and do the best I can to make sure that I'm lining things up right. make sure that this and this line up. This and this. And then this piece back here, which lines up with that too. And then this piece lines up with that piece. Now I've done that one and that one. Now I'm going to do this one, which is even with this and follows those lines all the way down to here. Now, I don't like the way this is looking so much, so I'm going to fix this up a little. Extend this out just a little bit more than it was before. Make this come down, this come down, and this come down here. Now this one, I don't know if it's because of an irregularity in the chair, or if it's the way it's turned or something, but it seems to come down further here. So we're going to come down further right there. And then this line is a continuation of that line. So right there, and then it comes back down to meet this one. So I kind of don't like the way these look like they're so much difference in size. So let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, and then over here, this line. So I just drew this one, now I'm going to do this one, the backwards spoon. This line follows this. It's even with this one, kind of. And like I said before, it's like a backwards spoon. A little bit too much. Always draw light till you get it right, and you won't have as much trouble erasing. And then there's this piece over here that matches this piece over here. And that actually looks bigger than this one does. And you notice that the bottom of this is like the back of the seat that you sit on, and it's all one line, and it's almost straight because of our view of it, but it's got a little bit of a curve. Probably not quite as much of a curve as I've put right here. Now, one of the things you might be thinking right now is this is too much. Like, this is just taking too long. Well, it is. It's taking a long time. It's not taking too long. It's taking exactly the amount of time that it should take probably. And the better I get at it, the faster I can do it. But for a beginner, this is going to take a little while. And that's okay. great things were not done like instantaneously. Rome was not built in a day, as they say. So some people say, I'm not very patient. Guess what this does? Builds patience. So now the outside of this chair, which I'm not going to get too involved in, I don't think, but the outside of this chair follows all of this information on the inside. Don't forget, it's got like this little, maybe I should zoom back out here. It has this part. So draw that part. And you start to see this chair take shape. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so this line right here and this line right here are a continuation of one another. So I'm going to draw that. I want to leave me a lot of space right here. Just drop right down, because there's a seat in the middle, and I'm going to drop all the way down to there. You can see a little bit of this circle. This is like a hoop right here that holds these legs together, and I can see a little bit of it right there. And it comes almost over, like this is lined up with this, and this leg is between it. So this part comes almost even with this. Notice how I'm just lining everything up. I want to know where it goes. I want to put it in the right spot, so I'm constantly like lining stuff up. This has got like a little decorative thing going on right here. So let's don't miss that little bit of information. And then this piece. And then there's a little rectangle of light right there. This is a continuation of that. Do that. I think I didn't do that quite right. Let me fix that. So this is kind of like that, and then this over here something like that. Over here, this is the back leg, which is a continuation. So right here, but this is that hoop. So this is going to go down following that line, sort of. And then it is right under that, so probably more out here. And then this is the front of the hoop. And then there is like a little triangle right here. Not quite a triangle. Try that again. And then there is the front of the seat. Or the side of the seat, I guess I should say. This comes around this way, this drops down. And there is the leg, and it flares out right here. So we're going to go way down here, and maybe it goes off the paper. Looks like it's going to go off the paper. Notice it has like a little bit of a bulge right there before it swoops out. And this is a continuation of that line right there, straight, and swoops out. This is parallel with the hoop. This is the back leg, the negative space next to the back leg. This is a continuation of that line. I think this ought to be a lot longer, which means this should probably be a lot longer. It's okay if it goes off the paper. In fact, I'm going to draw a little border on it here in a minute, and it's going to go off the paper even more. I'm going to draw this down further. Draw this. This is parallel with this. Let me erase that so it makes sense. Here is the front leg. A little bit of the hoop and the back leg, and the back leg seems to like really flare out, but also notice it's a continuation of that line. So this line goes through here, and then this line goes through here. It's right there. I'm gonna go down a lot further. And then a little bit of the hoop, side, bracket, outside of the chair, and we're just going to go all the way around with it now. Let me turn it where I can do it properly. And there you have it. It's not quite perfect, but you can definitely see the chair in there. And I didn't draw any of the positive space. I only drew all of the negative space. And let me tell you, I can feel the brain workout. And you can kind of go back after you've done everything and tweak and perfect everything as much as possible. I'm going to make this go more rounded. And because I'm making that rounder, I can probably do some other things like that and that. Now, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go over everything in pen to make it perfect. So I did speed this up a little bit so that you didn't have to watch me tediously trace all of the lines that I drew. After this, you can color it in, do a design in the background, just about anything you want, depending on what the assignment is. But the negative space is the important thing, using only the negative space to draw it. You can see that it took me roughly 25 minutes or more to complete the whole assignment. I put a little border around it. Take your time and do it well, even if it takes 30 or 40 minutes to do it, so you can get the best grade possible. Now it is your turn. Go make some negative space.